Hey guys, so new episode of Bruno's RPG Talk, and for this episode I actually wanted to talk about something that I do quite often, which is go to a dollar store. Here in Canada they call them the Dollarama, is the main one. So I don't know, wherever you are, or the 100 yen store, wherever you are in the world, there's always like the concept of this store where they sell cheap stuff. And you can actually find pretty cool stuff for your RPG games in those places. For example, here today I got a tea box, a transparent, a tea box with a transparent cover. And what you can do is you see they have different compartments, supposed to be for tea, and you can see inside. But I was actually thinking, well, this is quite useful for miniatures, and you can even see which ones are there. So I bought this. Now this might be a little bit of a stretch, but I find it quite very utilitarian. But of course, this, maybe it's a stretch as regarding something that you could use for your RPG games. Well, okay, fine. I found this Maya pyramid, like a 3D carton, like 3D puzzle, and you basically build a pyramid. Now I got this one because the scale, I don't think it quite fits with the miniatures that one uses for D&D and all the other RPG games, like the cathedral and all that stuff. But I figured like a pyramid, no matter the size, if it wasn't like in scale regarding the miniatures, that was fine, because it could just be like a small altar after a few steps, so it would still work. But I mean, just go to the toy section, look at the other sections, kind of like keep an open mind when you're walking down like a cheap dollar store for what you can find. And as I mentioned, the toys, if you go to the toy section, here I bought 2 dragons. I think they were trying to do like the McFarlane dragons. Which are awesome. So these are like the cheap versions of them. Even the style, I don't know, it looks like that's what they were going for. Now I didn't take these out of the boxes, but I bought some for my friends who also play D&D. And they look pretty good actually. So if you're in Canada, if you're in Dollarama, or if you're in another country and you happen to see these, yeah. The Dragons of the Dark. I think this is probably Canadian, because it also has Dragon des Ténèbres underneath. So it's probably for Quebec, where it has a bilingual box. Probably. Let me see if I can find something that's... Anyway, whatever. Still, whether they're these ones or other ones, you can find in the those cheap dollar stores, they always have toys. And they always have like some sort of like dragon, or they have lots of dinosaurs, even farm animals, I don't know. They can, because actually if I'm looking at like what these look like, they're no worse than a lot of like pre-painted miniatures they sell. And miniatures of that size could easily be like, I don't know, like $16 or something if they're like plastic pre-painted. And this one at least I can like move it a little bit and pose it, I'm not gonna start taking it out of the box now, but yeah, I actually got some for my friends, and they looked very good. So you have to keep an open mind, an open eye, regarding what you can find in those dollar stores. One side note, I found it really funny. The dragons on the packaging look better than the ones inside, just because of the painting. Like the black one actually has a lot of red on him. So I was thinking maybe after I paint some miniatures on the side, maybe I'll try putting some red on this guy, like on the chest, to be like in the box. Although I don't know if the lighting is good enough for you to see the details right now, because it's night. I film whenever, and I don't have a lot of good lighting necessarily. Well, maybe this will help. I don't know. Yep. Whoa. Okay, there we go. I guess that's... I don't know if that's better. Anyway. Finally, this is just like... It comes with a funny concept I had, which fits with the whole idea of keeping an open mind and an open eye when you go to those places. I found a monster book for kids. The Monster Encyclopedia. And and I was actually thinking, like, why not... for example, I've been using a lot the... there's a monster book I really like for D&D. Just a moment. Let's see if I can find it. Won't be long, I promise. Well, maybe I don't promise, but I'll try to not make it long. Where did I... Oh! Yeah, I remember now. I was actually using it. Just a moment. There we go. Yeah, I was actually... I took it to my friends because, just in case. The Random Esoteric Creature Generator for Classic Fantasy Role-Playing Games and their Modern Simulacra. This is by the guy who made the Lamentations of the Flame Princess RPG. It's pretty cool. It's a very good book to create monsters at random. And for old school D&D, it gives you a monster right away. For 3.5, you roll and then you kind of have to do some more crunch, some more work and stats. But it's still very cool because, you know, a lot of players have seen it all. And so anyway, but another way to actually do that, like, you know, if you're looking for monster ideas, because this is basically you roll up a monster at random. You have different tables and, yeah. So you just grab a kid's monster book. This is just... And there's two ways of doing it. Either you kind of like look in the book and see if you can actually find any monsters that are actually pretty good, because let's face it, some RPG monsters are pretty silly to begin with. Or the second way of doing it, I call the hardcore way, is if you're starting a new campaign, you grab a kid's monster book and whatever the book says is law, is canon in your campaign. That's how it works, no questions asked. So for example, you know, like you stat them out. You do stats for all of them. So here in the back, you see this guy is kind of shaped like a cookie there. Well, he's the glowing gloon. Description: if you're outside at night and see something glowing, there may be a gloon nearby. The gloon looks like the moon, but glows even brighter. Oh yeah, that's yeah. The tiny gloon is drawn like the moon. She has no arms or legs, so she has to roll. The little monster is afraid of you. The gloon is often mistaken for a cookie. Many gloons have met their doom at the hands of hungry children. Helpful hints: when you're hungry for sugar, raisin, oatmeal, or chocolate chip cookie, please make sure it's a cookie you're eating and not a gloon. Wow, it actually has a mistake there. It's a cookie you're eating. They wrote Y-O-U-R. It should be Y-O-U''R-E. Anyway. They give you the habitat, the favorite foods, and their favorite activities. Rolling and glowing. Oh, and wow. Well, these monsters are actually a bunch of idiots, because it says habitat, kitchens, especially cookie jars. So they're afraid of being eaten by children because they look like cookies. And they go into cookie jars. Oh, favorite foods, cookies and milk. So I guess like they go for their own food and are mistaken for their food. Still, I think they're pretty idiotic monsters to begin with. But that's the whole point. You just grab a like kids monster book and you go, this is canon. This is the campaign. And this is kind of funny because in this book you kind of have like a hierarchy of monsters. I have to check again, but they have kind of like a king of monsters, I think, or something like that. And they actually have some pretty cool concepts that could work for a game, like these two that are always fighting each other, because I think they're brothers or something. So that would be interesting. Like, you know, characters right, and they see like two monsters brawling it out. They could even choose to just like walk around, but just that is already like kind of like livens up your campaign. You're setting a little bit, I think. Yeah, it's here we have another one, the Cryolotus. The Cryolotus is a timid monster who spends time thinking about sad things, like the broccoli and spinach he has to eat. He cries because he will have to eat you if you cross his path. Oh, that's dark. He always has a runny nose and tears on his face. That's disturbing. I didn't remember that. Like, I kind of like browsed the book. I didn't like start reading every monster. That's truly disturbing, actually. Like, a monster is like crying because he has to eat you if he meets, like, kind of like his instincts will take over, but he has a conscience about it. Maybe something like that. You can really get into really messed up stuff, you know. You're just, actually, this is like messed up already. You don't need to even like tweak it or overthink it. Helpful hints. If you encounter the Cryolotus, tell him a sad story, like how much homework you did last night. Well, he's subbing, you can get away. So that's pretty good, I guess. Like in 3.5 terms, I guess like a perform check to tell a story, or maybe diplomacy. Old school D&D, I guess a charisma check. That's pretty. Favorite food, salty pretzels. Why? And there's actually there's a rule in this book. Let's see if I can find it. Because there's a rule for all monsters. Okay, yeah, there you go. Monster rules to follow at all costs. Never read this book in the dark. Okay. I mean, if you're in the dark, you don't even read it. Okay. I'm being an ass. 2. Always have monster food ready to feed those who may want to eat you. Oh, so there's also monster food. So the Cryolotus, like you could either do that roll, and if it fails, if your story wasn't sad enough for a Cryolotus, I guess you can trade some monster food. They don't tell you what monster food is though. So that's something you could work into your campaign. 3. Never set a monster trap. You never know what you might catch. Okay, fair enough. 4. If you encounter an unfriendly monster, say these magic words. Another mistake. Say these magic word and then it's like singular. Maybe that's why it was at the Dollarama store. Because of the mistakes, I don't know. Okay, so the magic words. Zipple doodle, to make it go away. Zipple doodle. Wow. Yeah, I remember that. That's what I was looking for. Yeah. Because I didn't remember what the words were. Zipple doodle. And actually I thought it was kind of like, I don't know, at first I was thinking, okay, so if like in old school D&D, like if players say zipple doodle in front of a monster, the monster has to do a morale check or leave. But no, apparently it disappear. So I guess it would save against magic or something. It would be a very ridiculous game, but that's the whole point. You just grab like, this book and you go, we're doing a D&D game around this, guys, or Savage Worlds, or whatever your system of choices. You go like, we're doing a game around this book. This is the setting. And maybe you don't make it read because you don't want them to know what the monster. But then, like, if you just have to go zipple doodle, why would you even bother telling a sad story? I guess like the sad story is like in case the monster like saves against your zipple doodle. But not talking D&D terms because according to this book, it just goes away automatically. That's I guess so kids won't be too scared. And 5, the most important rule is to have fun while reading these magical pages. And don't be afraid, monsters are only as real as you make them. Okay, that's nice. Well, that really couldn't be applied to a campaign. Or I guess it could, but anyway. Okay, I'm stretching it, of course. You know, like that in the tea box. But I have to sneeze. Sorry. Okay. Oh yeah, also another thing. They have a lot of like small books like these, and I bought like I don't know how many, and they're pretty nice. They just like take notes and all that stuff. And the thing is, if you're like for your campaign notes, this is kind of nice. It's kind of cool. Actually, very sturdy and solid. And basically, even I was thinking for like if you're playing a spellcaster, this could be a cool way to actually have a spell book. Um, I know the again in Montreal, the like in the museum, they sell some like notebooks that look like old tomes that are perfect for that, but they're kind of like $30 each. So I guess it depends. Like if like wait until your character reaches level 2 before you go buy like an expensive notebook just because it looks fancy. But yeah, this is kind of like a good option I think for just taking notes and like not losing them because they're all together here and it's not like this flimsy like crappy notebook. It's pretty cool. Or again for to represent your spellbook, you actually write your spells. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Just this little tip I had to give to people because, especially stuff like the dragons, because people pay a lot for stuff in for RPG games when they shouldn't. Even Troll Lore Games came out with this. And listen, I like Troll Lore games. I do. I have Castles and Crusades. I'm not entirely like in love with the saving system, but generally speaking, I like what they do despite typos, which is pretty much like the Monster Encyclopedia I just read. But I like their attitude. I like the attitude they have towards RPGs, like kind of like the products. And I also have a book of them I really like. And this time around, I should find it pretty quickly because I said, I was browsing for the other one, Engineering Dungeons. I actually have a few books for like creating dungeons at random. Not because I don't have ideas myself, but sometimes it's fun to just like, even you don't know what you'll end up with, so you can like take Engineering Dungeons and the Dungeon Alphabet, I guess, and just, oh yeah, and the new one from Limitations of the Flame Princess, oh. Which is the Seclusium of Orphon of the Three Visions. It's just to create a wizard tower. And of course, my first review ever in my channel, Towers of Adventure. So, I just grab all that, mix it up. I might even be forgetting a few. Oh yeah, the trap books. Yeah, I will also mix it up with some trap books I have. And, what was it? Yeah, okay. So, I kind of went off track. But what I was saying, I mentioned this book because this is something I like from Troll Lore Games. I don't want to bash them when I say this, but they do have one of the most ridiculous products I've ever seen in my life, which is just, they just came out with like, this pad of, I don't know how you would say it in English, but like, sheets with squares instead of lines, like a notebook with squares inside. And at the bottom of every page you have kind of like a legend, like icons and what they all mean, so you can create your dungeons. And they sold it, I don't know how much they sold it, maybe $20. Maybe it's less, maybe I'm exaggerating, but the point is, go to the dollar store, even go to normal stores that sell those. They're like $1 or $2, and okay, they won't have the icons at the bottom. I think you can make up your own icons if you're drawing it. If you're motivated enough to draw your own dungeon map, you're motivated enough to find your own icons for that stuff. And that just made me realize, like, wow, like, role players really like to spend a lot, don't they? Like, there's so many things that people buy way too expensively that you could have alternatives if you only look a little bit around. And that's my whole point. Like, people say it can be an expensive hobby, and it can be. It can be. Look at this. This is something I bought a while back. It's kind of like, so I paid $20 for this. It's Gothic City Ruins. It's cool, don't get me wrong, but it's $20 and in the end, what is it? Well, it's plastic. Plastic, you know, it's just like a piece of plastic like this. That's it. So I paid $20 for this. And it's a cool design, and once it's painted, it can look pretty cool and everything. But again, it's not even painted. I had to paint it myself, which I don't mean to bash it because a lot of people like being able to customize and paint the stuff however they see fit. That's cool. I'm not saying pre-painting is the be-all end-all. What I mean though is that doesn't even include the paint cost. But of course, people who like to paint, that's not an issue. But I'm just pointing out how it can really, your money can go away very quickly if you're not careful. And there's many ways to counter this if you just think about it for a moment. Or maybe kind of like tell yourself, okay, let's say you want to prepare a game like for your players. Let's say you give yourself like this much amount of money for this, like, because it all depends on you, it depends on what you're comfortable spending, but I guess you could go, so I have these many, like for this many sessions I'm gonna spend this amount of money, kind of like a budget. Imagine you're like making a movie or a TV show. A TV show is more appropriate. You're making a TV show and this is your budget for all of the episodes combined, so you can like go, okay, so for this final encounter, yeah, I'm totally gonna go and buy the Gothic City Ruins for $20. But then, like, let's say you gave yourself, like, I don't know, like $35. You say, okay, $35 for the. So now you have $15 left, and you go, okay, so I did need, like, kind of like this dragon there. So you go to the dollar store, like, oh, there you go, you have green dragon here, a black dragon. They also had blue and silver, but they were really crappy, in my opinion. And there you go. And this month, like, a miniature this size, an actual RPG miniature, of plastic pre-painted, the same kind of like the same thing, except it wouldn't even be like, you couldn't pose it like you can with these ones. I guess they would have a base. You can make yourself one, or you don't even need one. Just put the miniature on the map. You don't need to be nitpicky. But yeah, like this size. Dude, $20, $30, and you bought one. Hey, that's, yeah. I'm like ranting on at this point. But these are my recommendations for your D&D games. Just go to cheap dollar stores and see what they have. Even for LARPers. I don't mean LARPers like that actually do combat, but if you're doing kind of like a live action role playing, like without actual physical contact, like with, you know, Vampire LARPs or Call of Cthulhu. Really awesome live action role play rule set, Cthulhu Live 3rd edition. Anyway, even those, you go to the toy section, and again, you can have some props, especially now it's Halloween. Now is a perfect time for those. You want a dismembered arm? At Dollarama, again, they sell it like, dollar store, they sell it like $3 max. It's probably $2 or something. You have your arm dismembered. I even use, like, this Vampire Live game I went to once. I had like this, like, trash bag full of like plastic dismembered members. Like hands, feet, like stuff like that in the bag. Because my character was like a monster, and that was the thing. So yeah, stop spending so much money if you can avoid it, and yeah, your game won't even suffer. Like, your game won't even suffer because these aren't any worse. Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for watching.